What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday night. You know what it is. It's Flyers Talk A to D. Tonight, it's what we like to call the Hockey Happy Hour Bowl, as the Anaheim Ducks are taking on the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Philadelphia Flyers are taking it to the Ducks tonight. 4-1 right now at the second intermission. We're going to take you through the third period, give you our live reactions. We're going to do a little post game. We're also going to talk about the Christian Dvorak extension and what we think about it, and what could this signing lead to for this team moving forward at the trade deadline, into free agency, or maybe even into maybe the next couple years, with it being the way it is. But the only way to get in on this conversation is hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, telling your friends, jump in the chat. Time to talk some puck. Let's start the conversation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk A2D right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sinsuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
Man, what a game tonight.
And the broken one, Rob Povia.
Anaheim Ducks, a dirty motherfucking team. Who would have thought? We're going to talk about it tonight.
And we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. If you got any aches and pains, unfortunately the Flyers have a few that have actually popped up tonight, you might want to hit up the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, over at Specialized Physical Therapy. You can make an appointment at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. You head to either Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey. He's got great staff in both locations. After a few sessions with them, you'll feel as good as new. You'll feel a lot better, and you won't be having any more of those issues after all. And then you get back to doing the things you love to do, or at least getting back to, going to work and doing your daily routine without being in excruciating pain, which, is a nice little thing to have in life. The poll question for today is: the Flyers overpaid forward Christian Dvorak with his new contract, obviously in the $5 million range and worth 5 years for one Christian Dvorak. That is a lot of that's a lot of length right there, don't you think? Or do you not? Do you think that maybe it is justified at the end of the day? Gentlemen, take it away.
Well, as always, I'm gonna disagree with the poll. I don't think it's an overpay at all. I actually like where the AAV for this contract is. I really like where it's going to be in the next couple of years, as the cap is going to continue to increase. So this is going to really look like peanuts by the time we're in the second year of this contract. So when the cap is, I believe, is up to 105 million, I believe is where it's going to be in about 2 years. So this is really, I think it's quite an underpayment for a guy who's great in the locker room, a guy who's a good leader, a guy who's bringing a good culture, and a guy who honestly has been a big part in Trevor Zegras' resurgence this year. As far as the length goes, that's kind of where I have an issue with this. I don't like the 5 years personally, but we talked about it last week. If we were falling more into that 2 to 3 range, I would have been a little bit better, and I thought this would have been a great deal. But I mean, this deal isn't terrible. It's really not, because you're keeping him around, and it's pretty much a movable contract, especially when we get later into this deal for Dvorak. But I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't think it's an overpay. But again, I just don't like the length.
Robbie, how do you feel about it?
Well, before I get to my answer, Brian, you make a great point, too. The Flyers' goal at this point has to be to re-sign Trevor Zegras. You want to keep him happy, keep him with the line mate that he's building chemistry with, that's feeding him the puck well, that's being playmaking countless times. We've seen it countless times tonight. 4-1 second intermission here, Flyers Anaheim. But in regards to what Flyers paid for Dvorak, keeping him in tow helps you re-sign Zegras, right? And I, too, like the AAV. It's the years that caught me by surprise for what Dvorak brings to a center hungry club like the Flyers, 5.15 mil per year is a steal. However, that 5-year deal, it made me scratch my head, especially when you have these young center icemen in this pipeline that you don't want to block. I believe it took that commitment to make Devo put pen to paper, though. And I also believe that the expectation for the Flyers front office is that low AAV makes him more movable as he starts to approach his age 33 or 34 season. At that point, clearing the way for a now 18 going on 19-year-old player in Jack Nesbitt that would work out along that timeline where, yeah, the 5 years could potentially block him, but at 5.15 million a year, if you identify a team that's rebuilding that could use that veteran leadership from center ice, just as the Flyers, are valuing from Dvorak's presence here. Even if this spike in his production declines over the length of the contract, other future rebuilding teams are still going to covet what he brings. The strength at the faceoff dot, his defensive prowess, he's responsible hockey player. So all the things that made the Flyers take that flyer on him on a 1-year deal, right? They've gotten more value out of it than they could have banked for. And I think it was important to lock that down, keep this chemistry going, because now what it tells this team is that we're still building for the future, but we're ready to win right now too. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive.
I love it.
So for my opinion on this, I'll be honest, I kind of, the salary doesn't bother me. But I don't know. I'm not comfortable with the years. I think that the years could have been a little bit better. I mean, personally for me, I think that, 5 years is a lot for a guy who's, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, he is a rental player. 5 years is a long time for that. And getting back to the point of youth in the pipeline, where that should be a major question mark on everybody's mind right now of, is this going to block somebody possibly, or is this going to cause a problem later on down the line? I don't think it'll be an issue for re-signing players because, like I said, I don't think the salary is really a problem. But when it comes to the length, that's where my head is scratching. And I get it that you want to keep chemistry together. You want to keep Zegras happy. And you want to try and build off of what Dvorak's been doing. But at the same token, I feel like this is it's not necessary for the 5 years. To me, I feel like 3 would have been the max. That's where you should have maxed out at, in my opinion. That's how I feel about that. So I'm going to say agree in the sense of too many years. I'm not agreeing that I disagree for the salary wise. I think the salary is just fine.
Right. It's what it took, and they were prioritizing for whatever reason. Hey, good on Dvorak though, Maddie. He took a 1-year deal and bet on himself, and it paid off.
It
right?
did.
To
Give him credit for
25
that.
mil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta give him credit for that.
And I think both of you guys picked up on a good point here is maybe this signing is leading to they aren't as impressed with what they've seen from a Jet Lachenko or a Jack Nesbitt or any of the other centers that they have currently in the pipeline, that maybe they're thinking, hey, let's hold on to this guy who's having a career year. He's probably playing the best hockey that he's played in his entire career here. Let's see what we can do about locking this guy up for a little bit while these guys continue to develop. And I think holding on to Dvorak right now doesn't put as much of a rush on bringing up Jet or Nesbitt or anybody else that they have in the pipeline. And Maddie, to your point, this doesn't exactly hold the Flyers back from going after any free agents. And I don't know if I said this last week or not, but the one thing that I think that brought this on is I don't think that there's enough intrigue in free agency this year for the Flyers to go after anybody else. You have a guy right now who's playing really well up the middle, and why let him walk? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I feel like it's wise sign somebody who may not work out when we have a guy that's working out right now.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I definitely feel like the decision to do this with Dvorak, I think that maybe they don't feel too comfortable with what's going on down in the pipeline. So I could understand that to an extent. I do think though that when it comes to signing 5 years, it just to me I'm always the type who's very unwilling to give length to people and high salaries to people unless I'm 100% sure that they've earned it. And I'm not saying Dvorak hasn't earned what he's got. But what I'm saying is, it's like lengthwise, it's like I just see him as a rental player. I don't see him as someone who's going to be here 6 years, 7 years down the line from now. I don't look at him like I look at, say, a Zegras, or I look at him like a look at a Mitchkov or what have you. Now, maybe that's a little unfair considering the talent side, and the Ducks just scored to pull themselves within one on the power
There
play.
we go. On the
Goal
board.
from Killorn.
On the board. All right, that's 2 power play goals.
So Coots gets penalized, and the Flyers pay for it. So, all right, have to hunker down here a little bit in the third period after that one. But all the same, though, again, I just don't see Dvorak in the same light as I see other players that I feel like would have been more. I feel more comfortable with locking them down for a longer period of time. That's how I feel about it personally.
Now, let me ask you this, Maddie, before we start
Sure.
getting into some of the game here, since we're back in action. So let me ask you this. Does it make
Sure.
you feel any better knowing that he's been on Montreal for multiple years, Arizona for multiple years? So other teams aren't treating him as a rental. Other teams are treating him as a piece to kind of help their teams move forward. Does that make you feel any better about the contract signing at all?
A little bit. I mean, a little bit. Again, it's just like I'm always iffy on, like, okay, we're bringing in a player and now we're giving him a longer length on a contract than I feel comfortable with. Flyers, tried to
Ooh.
get it. They tried to get it back,
Why are you
but
taking the body there? That was a bad spot.
yeah, it was. But anyway, I mean, it feels a little bit better. Just that I hope his production continues to be, very solid, and I hope that he continues to have a really good chemistry with Zegras. Because I mean, obviously, the goal is to get Zegras re-signed, and once you do that, if you can lock that up and these guys can produce future on, okay, fine. Then there was nothing to worry about in the first place. But that's the only thing that I just want to. I hope his production stays strong. Is what I'm more concerned of at the
And
end
that's
of the
fair.
day.
No, and that's fair.
So, Chris saying Dvorak 5-year extension for a big win for only 5.15 mil a year is a rising cap space league. For a guy that fits anywhere from 1C to 3C, the Flyers floor is higher than people think. Then he
I
also
agree.
said, bit early for deadline talk, but the Flyers should stay put no matter what. Maybe acquire depth, but at little to no cost. This is the same team, largely minus Zegras and Dvorak, that had the season.
Yeah, I would agree to that too. Like, unless it's a move that's going to be like, wow. I don't necessarily think that they should really do anything crazy because everything they're doing is working right now, and they're the third youngest team in the league. So there's really no need to try and do anything. As Hathaway is going after Cutter for some reason,
I got getting a little chippy, and now he's grabbing onto Cates.
vice versa. Yeah, this game's been chippy all the entire way.
This is, definitely getting chippy. As you see the captain of the Ducks there, the former Flyer Rocco Gudis.
Yeah. This has been a very chippy game. Couple questionable hits tonight. One on Drysdale, one on Brink. I'm expecting Johnson to be suspended for that, and he got what he deserved because that was absolutely disgustingly late. Drysdale had no idea where he was, and he just absolutely took advantage and just laid him out for no reason whatsoever. So I hope Johnson gets suspended, and I hope he gets fined a max, and Hopefully Jamie's okay.
Yeah, hopefully. It was a pretty scary situation. It looked like he was going to have to be carted off the ice. Luckily, that
Mhm.
did not happen, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, getting
Um,
up under his own power was great.
yeah, big win there on that part. But so far here in the third period, Ducks have the only goal on the power play. Flyers are hoping to try and get that one back to take back a 3-goal lead. Ducks are hoping to get themselves back into this. The shots right now are 33-13 Flyers, so that should tell you a lot about how this game's been going. It's been a very strong performance from the Flyers, even though the Ducks scored first, which is kind of funny when you think about it.
Yeah, they didn't like that. They didn't
Yeah,
like when Cutter scored.
no.
Um,
For saying the Zegras power play goals were a thing of beauty.
yeah,
They were. They were.
yeah. The thing I like about this series and how it's kind of become is it's a fun. I shouldn't say it's a fun, but it's definitely an emotional rivalry where now you have so many pieces going from one team to the other. So now you have Zegras and Drysdale, then you have Cutter Gauthier, you have Ryan Paling, you have Radko Gudas. You have a lot of similar blood between these two teams, and it's honestly it's turning into bad blood, and
Mm.
it makes for entertaining hockey overall. But I mean, the first two periods of this game were high energy, entertaining, definitely fun if you're into this kind of hockey. But I tell you what, the Flyers set the tone after that Cutter Gauthier goal, and they have not looked back.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mark's saying, I don't think they overpaid Dvorak, but 5 years. Um, and then SJM saying, happy belated holidays, New Year's, and all that good stuff. Well, happy belated holidays and to you as well, and happy New Year to you as well, SJM. And let's see here. Priz saying, I understand the fear of Dvorak blocking future centers, but as I was saying on draft night, Nesbitt to me projects as a winger and has the exact same scouting report coming into the draft as Verhage. And he backs that up by saying Verhage, whose main position is a center, but plays most of the wing when Barkov is healthy.
He makes a good point. You can't assume, right, things are going to work out, like in terms of positional wise, forward wise, you see guys bounce around. And uh, just like Tocchet said in today's presser, I'll quote him real quick, in regard to when he was asked about, the Dvorak contract extension. And he goes, from my experience, center icemen are tough to find. They're gold. He comes in here and he's done a really nice job for us. I know him really well, obviously from his Arizona days. I think Danny and Jonesy, since signing him, have liked his game. He's well liked in the locker room. He's a culture guy. He's a guy who came into camp in shape and does the right things. And then, parentheses with this move, you're keeping character and quality in the room, and ultimately that's good for us. So that's it. Tocchet's thoughts on the Dvorak extension, and when you have an opportunity to lock a guy in, maybe the 5 years, maybe they're not going to be as quick to move them, in that fourth or fifth year. It depends on what the situation is. If Nesbitt stays at center ice and you need to free up space, maybe that's how you do it, and you get value from it, because ultimately, guys, it's not unheard of Dvorak being 29 going on 30, right, to really find the true nature of his game into his 30s. And I'm looking at you, Dustin Brown, right?
Yeah, it's true. And you know what's funny? I did meet Dustin once, and he was actually a really cool dude. But I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, he's going to be 29. He's going to be 30. And again, I'm curious, and I said this before. I'm curious if they saw something that they weren't necessarily sure about with some of the younger guys, and maybe this is what led to the contract being the way it shaped up.
And let's see here. We've got Mark saying, how about the hit on Brink and the suspension coming? Well, it's not the Brink hit that I think the suspension's going to. I think it's going to be more of the hit that was on to Drysdale.
Agreed. I mean, I didn't think the hit on Brink, and I definitely want to hear Robbie's point of view on this. I didn't think the hit on Brink was a bad hit. I thought it looked worse than it was. But the Ross Johnson hit, there was intent. So I I think he's definitely getting suspended. Robbie.
Yeah, that's accurate. There was intent to injure there because right there, you can go knee to knee. So many bad things can happen there, and Jamie, he's not your opponent's not even looking at you. If you're going to make a clean body check out in the ice and really just blow someone up, you got to make eye contact. Right. And with no eye contact, there's a intent to injure there. Definitely would not be surprised if he suspended 5 to 6 games for that at a minimum. And on the first hit, too, I believe was dirty because it's not the hit. He got him with the shoulder, but the follow through caught him up in the jaw. Right. It's the sneaky things that when you get former Rangers on your team, they bring with them here, because that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing this as being a really strong Chris Kreider, Jacob Trouba locker room. And they were all about doing the hits that you're not going to see on TV, that the refs aren't going to be looking at with their heads turned or what have you. And hey, I mean, in the end, it's working for them out in the Pacific, right? They bring goal scoring. They haven't brought too many shots on goal, sitting at 15 on this game, but they've had a lot of time of possession. Right. It seems like the Ducks have been in the Flyers zone way more than the other way around, yet the Flyers have double the shots, more than double the shots. So you have to have that other layer of the game. And that's what a new coach, Joe Quenneville, is going to bring too. He's no saint behind there too. He comes from turmoil. He comes from controversy, right? It's been successful, though, where you see teams like Anaheim and San Jose being right there with the Flyers in terms of a resurgence on a rebuild.
Let's see here. Mark's saying, I'm thinking no, but it also looked questionable in regards to the hit on Brink. And I mean, honestly, I would say right now, if you have to debate on whether or not that hit was clean or not, there's a good chance that it wasn't. And that's how I feel about that, honestly. If you got to think about it, it's like, then, yeah, that's a suspicious hit. It's like, okay, you may not have had intent, but you may have, right? That's the problem when it comes to that, is like, then it comes down to the referee's discretion. Then it comes down to, okay, did he have malice in that? Was that intended on his part? Actually, more to the discipline side of things. The league taking a look at the hits and everything, looking at it as, all right, did he have malice intent on that one? Even if it wasn't that obvious, do you feel like, like questioning a little bit,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I'm trying to see time possession because I feel like the Flyers have, in those first 2 periods, I felt like Anaheim couldn't get it out of their zone. But anyway, that's not important. But like I said, the hit on Drysdale's, there's definite intent there because Robbie, you're spot on. Like, you have to you be able to look at your opponent in the face. And he clearly took advantage of that situation. And I get it. Like, this rivalry has turned into an emotional roller coaster because, like I said, there's former Ducks on the Flyers. There's former Flyers on the Ducks. So, like, especially with everything surrounding Cutter Gauthier, it's definitely a lot more emotionally charged than it used to be. So things are going to happen. But, I mean, as far as Brink goes, like, I mean, maybe it could be suspended. I don't think it's going to be. But, I mean, the one thing I will say on that is the fact that Noah Cates got a 10-minute misconduct for that was complete and total utter bullshit, in my opinion. 2 reasons. One, there was no need to call misconduct or instigator. Both guys were willing to drop the gloves. 2, like, he didn't do anything. Like, he dropped the gloves. That was it. They threw a couple punches and it was over. Where's the game misconduct? Were you trying to have the ref set a tone? Okay, that might be a good reason to do it, but clearly it didn't work because look at how this game has been the rest of the way.
I was going to say, what tone were the refs trying to set? Because it failed miserably as
Yeah,
this game has gone along.
It's to me, it's just that made no sense. Like, for the one guy who stuck up for sticking up for his teammate, it was absolutely ridiculous. It should have been 5-5, and that was it.
Right. Well, I mean, a couple things there in regard to the first hit on Brink. No, absolutely not suspended worthy. It was just it's a rough hit. You know what I mean? It's playing aggressive hockey. It's what you got to do. And this game has had stanzas. I agree with you, right? Where Flyers have had a lot of offensive time period, but you see Anaheim surging. Even Brian Boucher said it was 3-1, 14-3 in shots. Or 14
okay. Sorry, Robbie. Didn't mean to interrupt you there. Hathaway was dropping them with Gudis.
Knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So we had
being your captain. I found that interesting. I saw that today. I was like, good for Gudis.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're all dirty bastards. That's it. See, Hathaway laid him out in the corner, and Gudis was like, "Now he's got." That was the retaliation.
Okay. All right.
And that's what we've seen from Hathaway in the past 2 games, right? He's really trying to stick in the lineup after being a healthy scratch. I didn't like him taking that fight though against Edmonton. He could have really turned the sway of that game.
Oh, he crushed Ian Moore.
Oh,
good hit.
Nice solid check right there.
Yeah, that was a good hit. Yeah. Gudis there. That's a good time to start a scrap of Hathaway. Got to defend the rookie there.
Yeah.
And I will say that was Hathaway. Basically, the receipt was taken earlier from the hit, and that was him repaying it. Basically,
right. But again, eye contact, hip check.
Mm-hmm.
Good hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Good hit.
Yep. That was a welcome to the league kid hit.
Major penalty on the hit, Swoopy?
No, not for that one.
Right. Oh, so in regard to Kate's earlier, right? This is how you solve that. You do slap him on the wrist because there was no call on the hit, right? And no intent to injure, but he's got to defend his player, right? You give them 2 for roughing and you call it a day. I don't understand why there was even a fighting major call. The other dude didn't even swing fists. He just kind of cowered inside his jersey.
Right.
Well, I mean, either way, I think you and I are on the same page here. It should have been even.
Right.
Should have been even, Stevens.
I didn't like that Johnson hit, man. So I knew right before this show, I was just going to keep on poking your ducks this whole show because I'm mad. I'm mad about that hit, Brian. That was a bad hit.
I'm mad about it too.
I hope he's suspended for 50 games.
Same. Listen, I don't like. I never liked Ross Johnson to begin with. I understand why he's on the team. He's got a role to fill, but I'm with you. I did not like the hit the minute that I saw it, and then seeing Jamie down. I like Jamie. Jamie's always been one of my favorite Ducks, and he's one of my favorite Flyers. Like, you don't want to see a guy go down like that. It's ridiculous.
So, see what they're got a little bit of jaw jacking back and forth, a little chirping between Gudis and probably more friendly chirping, it looks like, between Gudis and Hathaway there in the box. Nothing aggressive. Waiting to see what's going on here because the refs went over to talk to Taka. Taka didn't seem too thrilled, so it might actually be a major penalty.
I hope not.
Again, are you still trying to control this game with 12 minutes left? Because it's too late, pal.
Yeah, Taka is not thrilled, so that does not look too promising on that. Yep, they gave fightings, so that was going to happen. And all right. It looks like they just okay. All right. I was worried there for a sec after Taka was disagreeing. I was worried there that they might do the major penalty there for a sec. They did not.
Taka's still barking.
He's not happy with something. Meanwhile, Metal Mike, what's up, bro?
Oh, maybe he's like, why didn't Gudis get the instigator there? Like Mike did.
Maybe. Yeah, you might be onto something there, Robbie.
But yeah, I mean, to me, this game it's just been high energy throughout the entire way, and like I said, with the Flyers especially, it's been Sparky.
Barkey's hurt.
This is just getting ugly at this point.
This is getting real ugly. Now, what the hell happened there?
High
He's
stick.
bleeding. He's bleeding.
Yeah. Oh, did he knock a tooth or did he get him in the gums? He definitely got him in the mouth.
I think he got him in
High
the
stick, yeah.
gums. Yep, Trouba.
What is that?
Elbow. See right here. Slap. Oh, yeah.
Cuba doing what he does best. Get
Yep.
him out of here.
Forearm shot right to the face. You're just asking to go to the box if you're doing that.
What the heck is happening tonight?
The Ducks just said, hey, you know what? We're in Philly. Let's just go ahead and let's just start fighting every 5 seconds here. All right.
We deserve to lose this game.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot on Trouba's part. Now, here's the problem with Trouba. Yeah, I agree, Swoopy. That was intent. Now, here's the thing about that. Trouba has no leg to stand on if he tries to defend himself by saying, oh, well, think about the hit that Hathaway put. It's like, no, what Hathaway did was solid hockey. What you did was a cheap shot. There's a difference between the two.
Again, like I said earlier, in case you're just joining us, right there, both players' backs are to the referee there and the linesman. Boom. That's what you think you can get away with the hit, but he got caught, right?
Yeah.
Dirty scumbag Ranger move.
Yeah. And you guys know I don't like Trouba. I was not a fan of the trade. I was pretty happy with how he was playing this year because he is, for the most part, been keeping his elbow down and he's not getting himself in trouble.
Until now.
I get to an extent, I understand why you're going after Barkey because, you had Hathaway go after Ian Moore. Yeah, you're going to take a shot at the rookie, but that was not the way to do it.
Right. If he had just put a hit on him, okay, that's one thing. You know, it's like, all right, fine, that was a hit.
Yeah,
but
true, but that's right, Heather.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot by every stretch of the imagination.
And I like the intestinal fortitude, the kid coming right back out and playing on the power play one line, the shift right after the call, and having the confidence to play the kid there.
Right. The Flyers need to do better with zone penetration on that one because they turned the puck right on over at the blue line.
I'll tell you, Barkey's been really good.
Yeah,
he has been. Did like what Risto was doing there. He's walking it on in. Not afraid to take that chance.
This has been the Achilles heel of this team that's really holding them back at this point is the power play.
Agree.
That was a good chance.
Yeah, it was. Just the problem is the big issue, and this is what was happening with the major. They don't get on those rebounds. They're getting pushed out of right in front of the goalie, and it's stopping them from. Wait.
Another penalty call.
Another penalty on the Ducks?
What is happening?
What just happened? Was that 2-man advantage? So what's the call?
What's Minty getting called for?
Was it too many men on the ice?
No. Oh, high stick.
Right there. Okay.
It wasn't even him. It was Kreider.
Yeah. Wait, what? Hold on, huh? Okay, they swapped him out. Okay, Kreider's going in there. All right, yeah. I mean, if you're going to punish properly.
Trying to lift the stick, and he just swung and miss.
Although with Kreider, you can be, somewhat suspicious on that. So you got 3 usual suspects all sitting in the box right now for the Ducks, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah, it's kind of funny, actually. Let's see here. Mark saying possible frustration on the Ducks' part after this bad stretch of games they've had.
100%. And it just happened
you
to
come
be
into the building, they're booing your young stud every time he touches the puck. They're like, "Fuck these people," and I hear you. But I don't know. There's just like you said. I mean, you can have individual misgivings with players, but in the end, they represent the team, right, with their actions on and off the ice. And that Johnson's hit, that was just terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely terrible. Overall, though, like I said, with the power play, this is an opportunity where they can at least start to reverse the serious offers that they've had lately on the power play. Not that this team has underperformed, and if you have, Jamie Drysdale or Bobby Brink out for any length of period of time, Mitch Koff out tonight after taking a shot off the foot in the Edmonton game. There was some swelling, X-ray. He gave it a go. It was a game time, game time decision, but ultimately he sat out tonight, which you probably thought he was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Flyers do excellent getting second and third opportunities 5-on-5. But to your Matty before, and we're seeing it right before our eyes now, it's one and done on the power play, and that just does not get it done.
Yeah,
you need that second opportunity,
right?
Second chances.
Yeah, and that 2-man advantage, the Flyers had one shot on it. Yeah, it was a very late 2-man advantage, but you gotta at least put some fucking rubber down there on Dostal a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean the second period was really good as far as like shots go and the power play. Even this advantage right here has been really good. Good zone time, getting lots of shots in there. I mean, granted, not too many high quality chances, but you're getting shots in on. And I'll be honest with you, the Flyers are getting a lot of bounces to go their way tonight too, because this could be a very different game if two pucks didn't hit the post.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the power play portion of that 2-man advantage hasn't exactly been going too well. Flyers really struggling to keep that puck in the Duck zone there. They had a really shitty turnover there that almost led to a breakaway. Luckily, a couple of people were paying attention to their position, so that didn't happen. But, it's kind of frustrating to watch this team get 2-man advantages and they don't do fucking shit with it. I'm really starting to get sick of this crap. It's like, how many more times are we going to have this problem? Because this game should be like 5-2, 6-2 right now, and it's not. And that's really pissing me off. It's like, how many more times are you going to fucking do this? Because there's still plenty of time left in this game. Anaheim scores at any point after this penalty is going to be washed away. Then all the momentum goes right straight to Anaheim, and it's a 4-3 hockey game, and everything changes.
Yep, and this struggle a little bit. I'll say this goes to show that this team doesn't have that bona fide goal scorer. And I do believe Mitch Koff is going to be that guy. He's just having a rough second year, and it's understandable. Some players are going to have that rough second year, but they don't have that bona fide 30, 40 goal scorer that's going to be that dangerous threat on the power play. They have Zegras, which he's been fantastic, and I think he does have one tonight, maybe. I know he definitely has. Definitely has two, but I think I saw one on the power play. I'm not 100% sure, but
yep.
But they need a little bit more than that.
They were the same shot. It was like I thought it was a replay. I was just putting the last of my Christmas decorations away, and I was like, "Oh, what happened? I just saw that. It happened again." It was like deja vu all over again.
But good in a good way.
In a good way.
I do agree, Mark. Next goal is a big one.
Yeah.
And then Prism saying, someone needs to explain to me how JT Miller, Trocheck, Nelson, and Boldy made it over Robo on the U.S. men's team for the Olympics.
Yeah, I think Canada is going to win that anyway.
It comes down to what players the coaches want. They're building the team. Always an odd man out. But I mean, they've gotten good universal scoring on this team, and that was indicative of a lot of former great Flyers teams where they would have 5, 6, upwards of 7 guys, all 20 plus goal scorers, and that's what this team is building upon. And you saw that against a strong Edmonton team, putting up 5 goals. We haven't seen it tonight. I'll agree with you, but we have seen it of recent. Especially coming off a tough loss in Calgary. You're in the middle of a really long road trip. That Western Canada road trip, New Year, post Christmas, New Year's is never fun times. But to put up 5, I mean, Edmonton Oilers have their their defensive woes, but they dominated that game from start to finish. And, then you handle business the game before against the Canucks, putting up 6 goals, 5 goals against the Canucks the week before, right? But then you have the in-between games, right, where they drop off and they lose a rough game to the Sabres, only put 3 goals up. The 1-goal game against the Kraken actually is the one I was thinking of, right? So maybe with a third-year Mitchkov, a second-year Barkey, who has had his beak strongly dipped in the NHL pool this year, and then Alex Bump right behind him, all of a sudden, now you're talking about a team that's putting up 4 and 5 every night.
Right. Pris saying it's strategy. We all know the most dangerous lead in hockey is a 3-goal lead. Got to avoid that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the one negative thing that I will say that, they do need to get that production going. I mean, it's going to be the killer, in the long run. And I get it. Right now, it's still early on in terms of them being more competitive. If they can stay consistently competitive, that's what we want. I mean, that tells you how early we are in this stage, because consistently competitive from year to year is something we haven't had in a long time. But one of the major key assets to that being successful is having a power play that will strike and will make the difference in a game like this, or in any game. Punish those teams that are terrible at discipline. Punish them. You have to bury their ass, or in other words, they could come back on you, and then you're going to sit back wondering, how did we lose a winnable games? Like, because you don't take advantage of your opportunities. You failed at doing that.
Yes.
That's the one thing the Flyers really need to work on more so than anything else right now. They have the heart, they have the grit, they have the determination, they have the testicular fortitude. But at the end of the day, they need to pick it up, and they need to really get those special teams rolling. Not just the penalty kill. Power play's got to do it too. They got to pull their fair share of the weight.
It's going to come in time. I think there's definitely guys on this team that are going to help with that. You have your Bobby Brinks, your Tyson Forsters, Jamie Drysdale is going to be one of those guys that's going to help. Mitchkov, Bump when he comes up. Barkey's looking like he could be one of those guys that can definitely help. The weapons are there. It just needs a little time just to develop a little bit more. I think this team, to Swoopy's point, I mean, as much as they're competing right now, they're still rebuilding in that same breath. But I mean, they want to go. But again, to both your points, this is the one aspect to me is lacking as well, and they got to figure out their backup goalie situation too. So
that'll help too.
That'll definitely help. There's definitely been some winnable games that they've lost because Erison's inconsistency this year.
Yeah, that's been a rough one. It's a shame too, because he actually got a cool mask for the first time in a while. But it is what it is.
They've been fortunate to earn that point. A lot of those have been in overtime or the shootout, but still, it's like you can almost bank on Erison giving up 3 or 4 goals. He's a torts guy, and it's time to say bye bye. Honestly, yeah. I've been a defender of Erison, but and he has been. Given a couple, opportunity and pass for the Four Nations with the Swedish hockey team, but that was probably more out of default than anything, because at this point, I'd rather have Koloslav backing up at this point. And the good thing is, though, is that you gotta love what you're seeing from Carson Bjornsson so far this year, boys. I believe I see a 913 save percentage and a mid-2 goals against. I mean, it's the AHL. Maybe your numbers could be a little inflated. They'll go up a little tick when he goes up to the NHL, but I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, he's a guy I wouldn't rush right now. Kolosov, absolutely. I think you hold on to Erison as long as you can, and then one of two things winds up happening. Either you try and send him down and hope he passes through waivers, or you hold off until the trade deadline, and then you just try and trade him there. And at that point, you bring Kolosov up and you rock with Kolosov and Vladar for the remainder of the season and through the playoffs should they get there. I think that's probably the latter is going to be the more likely situation. And then you just take whatever you can get for them. You RFA at the end of the year anyway. So worst thing you can do is not tender a qualifying offer to him and just let him walk. But I'd rather I'm always the type try and get something for something instead of just letting them walk and have them get nothing.
Right.
Right.
So we've got 4 minutes left in the game. Right now, the Flyers are still up 4-2. And it's been a wild one, to say the least, here between the Ducks and the Flyers. Been chippy as hell, starting off with the hit that hit on Bobby Brink, and then it escalated from there. And yeah, I've seen the replay of that hit anyway. I just realized, you know what? I don't know why the hell they gave Cates an instigator penalty anyway.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Because essentially, Gudis did the exact same thing. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Why didn't he get it? That had to have been why Tocchet was hot. Because
Yeah.
it's like what players can't stand up for each other. Then why do you even have fighting still left in the game? That's the whole point. I was explaining that to my fiance the other day. She's like, "Wait, they're allowed to fight, and they don't get thrown out of the game." I'm like, "Yeah, they only get 5 minutes."
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, "Why do they let that happen?" I'm like, "Because if you didn't have fighting, people would take liberties with their checks because there'd be no consequences."
Mhm.
Right. You got to let the players police themselves. And if you're going to give an instigator there, okay, it was so clear that the guy didn't want to fight, but it wasn't like you threw a couple punches. You give two and two for fighting. I mean, for roughing.
Right,
And,
right.
and you call it a day if you don't call a penalty on the original infraction. What up, Greg?
What up, Greg?
What up, Greg?
Appreciate you, man. Greg always supporting every show here. You know, man, die hard A2 guy. Yeah, we appreciate you. I mean, I like every time I'm sharing stuff for the show, Greg's on it before I am. All the time. All the time.
I mean,
or Dale's. But it's your show, so I mean, you kind of have to be.
Right.
No, the one thing too is as well, not only is it one of those things of, oh yeah, well, Cates is standing up for his player, but it's also on top of it, oh, we got a penalty coming up, and it is surprisingly
This is
on the
getting
Ducks.
really
Whoa,
ugly.
whoa, holy shit. We got ourselves a big old tussle going on right now.
Gudis just decked Gurbankin.
Ah, that explains why Hathaway was ready to fucking take Gauthier down to the fucking ice.
Ooh.
Well, Gurbankin is up, so that's good news. Yeah. So, Brian, let me ask you a question. When did your Ducks all of a sudden become assholes? Can you explain that one to me?
I think Mark hit the nail. I think it's just this is all frustration. We'll see what exactly happened. Okay, body. Okay. Battling.
Okay.
A
There
little
was
bit
a
of a
hit
high
there.
shot. Oh, he decked Cates.
Oh, he got Cates. That was it. Yep. There it is.
Yeah. He just fucking took him down gladiator style.
Okay.
And then punch him in the head. I didn't like that. I don't like the way these guys are playing tonight.
Yeah, this is like slap shot.
Yeah, it literally is. Less blood, but
Oh, he dropped the elbow. He didn't even punch him.
God damn, what is this, WWE all of a sudden? Like, holy shit. Like, that actually reminds me of when Gudis was playing for the Flyers.
But Flyers were dishing out hits, though, too. Seeing it on the replay, though, that was just two teams just fucking each other up. Like, really, like, you just hope nobody gets hurt in games like this.
Yeah.
That's what you just hope for. And so far, we've gotten some injuries on our side.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Ian Moore since he got hit either.
Right. But I mean, it's a big part of it. If it's been a rough stretch, this is the melting pot right now, and it's just melting down, right? I mean, like, maybe you could comment like this is irregular for the Anaheim Ducks. Yeah,
I would say so for sure, because usually they're a little bit more composed. They've taken a ton of penalties tonight. Some of them have been unnecessary. There were a couple that were just kind of like, eh. But the thing that I think is the biggest thing to take away from this game is It is, to use your phrase again, Robbie, like I did last week. This is a melting pot. Like this is just an absolute. This is on both sides. It's just everybody's taking liberties on each other. Anytime there's an opportunity to take a shot at somebody, somebody's taking it. And it just seems unheard of for an East and a West team to do this. Usually it's interdivision.
Usually. I did not really like the way that whole stretch there ended. There was a couple of times Flyers probably should have shot that puck. Can we gain the zone and get that puck down on Dostal? He hasn't really had to do much in this power play.
Melting pot, boiling point, all different ways to say the same thing, fam.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, absolutely. And my buddy just actually texted me, and he's saying the same thing that you guys are. He's like, your team is on another one tonight. Like they're 2-6-2 coming into this game tonight, and they're about to be 2-7-2 in their last 12 or in their last 11. I mean, their offense isn't there. Defense has been piss poor. And Dostal and Mrazek just have not looked the same since the Christmas break. There's definitely frustrations here. And again, not to sound like a broken record, emotions are high tonight for both teams involved because, again, you got Zegras and Drysdale versus Gauthier, Paling, and Gudis, and I'm sure there's other guys that I'm forgetting, but like this is a highly emotional rivalry now.
Right.
And when you're in this atmosphere, it's tough to sometimes keep your emotions in check.
Right. He comes out, he scores the first goal. You know he's barking. He's talking shit. He's acting like his shit don't stink. You know, this is like I'm having flashbacks of Sidney Crosby. So you need somebody to take a couple chips out of his teeth now. Darian Hatcher.
I think it's not necessarily all just Cutter. I think it's Zegras too. You know, you have Cutter hitting that first goal, which lights the fire, and then Zegras back and being as emotional as he is.
First game back against this whole club, he's he was fired up too. I mean, you saw that after that first goal at celebration. Absolutely great point, Brian. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it with fan goggles right now. That's for sure.
So we've got an empty net looming here for the Flyers. And hopefully they can get the puck over to Zegras so he can get himself a hat trick. That'd be nice. Well, he may play for it, but that's going wide. And that
I would have tried to let that go. Oh, where's Z?
Nope, that is not Z. That is going to be a goal for, is that Gurbankin?
Yep.
Yes. Hey, good for Gurbankin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working hard, playing tough minutes when called upon.
He's had a fantastic game tonight. He's had a ton of scoring chances tonight that just didn't go his way.
Yeah, and he had to take on new assignments and responsibilities after you lost Brink too, and the juggling lines. And I saw him playing up. You know, let me see what his minutes are on the night.
Yeah, it's been a good effort from the Flyers tonight, and it was definitely a hard fought win for them tonight.
It was. They probably rolled in. Oh my God, two Flyers even just started checking each other. That's how intense this game's been. We're even checking ourselves. This is one of those things where you had to be thinking like, man, they had to be thinking like, oh, the Ducks are coming in tonight, so it shouldn't be too intense. Boy, if anyone said that, they were fucking wrong.
Zegras 22:51.
Damn.
Barkey up to 15 minutes. Gurbankin not as much, 10 minutes, 32nd. You know, like maybe a bump in a little bit from fourth line minutes, but not much. But it seemed like he was very noticeable for those 10.5 minutes.
Oh,
I think so too.
Was Dvorak 23:51 as well.
How many points did he have tonight? Did he have 2?
He had 2.
Okay.
No, he had just one assist.
Oh, he just had the one.
How much time
Case had the second.
Yeah.
How much time has Hathaway played? Because I feel like he's been out a shit ton too.
Hathaway, no, 855, but again, noticeable because he's just playing fired up and like hitting he doesn't want to leave the lineup again, and that's what you want to. That's the culture that you're building here, and that's what's beautiful to see that we haven't seen here in a little while in Philadelphia, and then this just wasn't overnight. We've seen this over the past year or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
that block.
Hathaway is another one who tonight has had a bunch of chances as far as scoring opportunities go. He had two he probably should have scored on. One went off of Dostal's shoulder up and into the netting, I believe it was.
Yep.
Oh,
Look it up on that one for sure.
Oh, here we go. And here we go. All bets are off now that the game's over.
Oh, Carter just wanted a hug.
Yeah. He just wanted to get a hug from Sealer. That's what it was.
Oh, they didn't like that shot at the end. That's what it was. Fuck your mother.
And the underlying storyline, Ed Snyder Appreciation Night.
It is.
He would have loved this game. He would have loved this game.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Ed Snyder said, hey, we need to have a little rough one here, in honor.
If y'all watching us all night and saw me give a little salute to the camera, that was for Ed Snyder.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. The founder of the Philadelphia Flyers. And win now for the Flyers here. Big night tonight. Trevor Zegras. Z getting himself 2 goals. Attempted to try to get the hat trick. He flung a puck down at the empty net, but it was going well wide. But in the end, it does not matter. The game is a win for the Flyers, a big one for them as they continue to rebound from tough losses that they've taken. And in this case, they rebound from a bad game they had out in Calgary. I don't know why the Flames have the Flyers number this year. Thank God we don't have to face them again. But either way, though, they did well against Edmonton, and then they played well here against the Ducks to get the win. And yeah, Flyers are continuing their winning ways. So, gentlemen, after this win tonight, I think we can also say, too, that the Flyers are not afraid. If they have to handle themselves, they'll handle themselves at the end of the day. So I think we can also say that, too, because this was a nasty little affair here between the Ducks and the Flyers.
They've gotten more toughness, more snarl. They've been pushed around as a small team here, like leading up to the beginning of the Torts era, and they've changed that around. That you can't push around these Flyers.
Yeah. And York just handed his stick off to somebody in the crowd. Good game for him tonight. Had a nice shot that was tipped in. And, of course, the first star is Zegras. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no doubt. By far the best guy on the ice all night long, and he was definitely fueled by emotion.
Absolutely. And did you love what he said between the intermissions when he said, like, oh, it's nothing like it in the world playing in Philadelphia? And also goes on to say, the boos are great, the cheers are better. It's like, you know what? That's just like, you know what? How do you not love Z? Hey, you have to love Z for that. It's like he is absolutely so invigorated to be a Flyer.
Yeah, he's found a home here in Philly for sure.
Yeah,
he played agent for Dvorak. They were talking about that during the game tonight.
Mm-hmm. Which, oddly enough, I did not know. Have a good night, Heather.
Night, Heather.
I did not know that there needed to be a witness for the contract signing.
Apparently. Well, either way, though, Z gets to be the I just like, you're looking at the post interview right now. Look at the smile on this guy's face. Like, it's just like he is just this. He was meant to be a Flyer. That's what it was. He was just meant to be a Flyer this whole time.
Well, I keep on getting the notifications like most of you out there, with the post game handing off Bernie's mask and seeing those locker room little like sights into the locker room. And this is one of the best locker rooms I've ever seen from any one of the teams that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the Flyers, any team that I have followed. And a huge part of that is what was already here, what they were building, but a lot of it is the influx of the new, and Zegras being front and center there. So he's definitely been great for Philadelphia. He's been great for this locker room. He's the next target for Danny B and Keith Jones' checkbook.
Absolutely.
As he should be. As he should be. He just fits in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, he brings that personality. He fits. You know, obviously he's got two of his friends here, and I feel like we talk about this week to week. You know what I mean? Jamie, Cam. You know, there's a ton of people who, you know, are, like, to your point, Robbie, are core pieces of this culture in this locker room. And you bring in a guy like Zegras, and he has a year that he's having. He has a smile on his face that he has. He's bringing out, like, the better personalities of some of the other players in the locker room. That's the guy you have to ink long term. He's bringing out the best of a guy who's 29. He hasn't really showed being much more than a third line player for a lot of teams, fourth line player in Dvorak. And he's having a fantastic year because of it. You know, I feel like Dvorak is feeding off of Zegras, and Zegras is feeding off of Dvorak, and that's great. That's something you don't want to break up. That's chemistry there. So, you know, I do believe, and I've heard this from a few people, that the interest is there between both parties. Flyers want him, and he wants to stay here. From what I've been hearing, and the last person I heard this from was Anthony Sanfilippo, was that they're waiting until the end of the season to get the contract done.
Yeah, I could see it. So it's not a distraction. There's two strategies here, where you wanted to ink Christian earlier than later, where the AAV and the price can be lower. You know, for a team, you want to get it done sooner than later. So you offer him the security of a 5-year deal. He puts pen to paper now, right? With Zegras, it's the other way around. You want to keep him free and clear, because, you know, hey, let's face facts. You know, if we're going to praise the man, we got to talk about how sometimes he can mentally check out, right? And when you're in negotiations where you're being, like, you know, and they can get tough, right, in terms of what you're worth, you know, both pluses and minuses. You don't want to bring that on the ice. You would take care of that during the offseason with the type of, you got to know the athlete that you're signing, right? Yep. In regard to Dvorak, who signed, you know, like I said, his extension at 5 years, $25.75 million, right? I think what we saw here with Dvorak was him playing in the wrong system for a few years in Montreal, because he showed a lot of promise out there in the desert as a coyote. And we're seeing that again. And the one commonality between the two stops has been Rick Tocchet. And Rick Tocchet, I believe, has revitalized Dvorak. Their familiarity with each other has been paramount so far. And Devo has become a jack of all trades.
Yeah. I was hoping you were going to say, because I had it locked and loaded just in case you didn't, about Tocchet.
Yeah.
So
everybody knows this. I'm pointing out what we all know.
Right. Swoopy's asking, when do the Flyers and the Ducks play out west? March 18th is when they will be heading out to Anaheim for that game. So might want to circle that date on your calendar, everybody, because after how chippy this game was in Philly, might be a little chippy out there on the West Coast when they go out to the Honda Center.
Maybe not.
There's a few receipts that need to get picked up,
or the Arrowhead Pond, whatever the fuck you want to call that place.
Yeah, you know, I don't like to fill that place that often. They're very what's the word? They're very frugal out there. And it's super expensive to go to games out there. John Coyle, what's up, my brother? I haven't seen you in the chat in a long time, my man.
Yeah, and he's saying, what's up, boys? I disagree with the poll. I think it might be a bit high of a number, but anytime you can get a locker room guy like him who does have some upside to being a mid-six center, I'm all in.
Right, right. And he's playing top line minutes right now and doing it like a champ. And this could be a spike in the production, sure, but I really believe that like, you know, like I said, I'm stating what we all know, but Dvorak could have been the victim of a poor system in between. And that's what lowered our expectations. That's what got him in the door here for so cheap in a 1-year deal. But John, I said earlier in the show that Dvorak took that 1-year deal, bet on himself, and it's paid off. And I think it's a deal that if they need to move him in year 4 or year 5 of that deal, who's not going to take a quality center iceman who Rick Tock, quote unquote, said are gold in this league, that's still on the plus side of 35 at only $5 million a year. So it works out for both team and player. Because now he's got that security because he's going to be paid for 5 years, no matter what jersey he's wearing.
Exactly. And the other
but hopefully
thing,
it could be the Flyers. Maybe like to your point before, Brian. It could be Flyers for all that 5 year.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing to keep in mind too, John, is the cap goes up next year, and it goes up even more the year after that. So you're really looking at paying this guy peanuts at that point, because you're getting in on the ground floor of this, and once it goes up even more, that has to that number could increase by that point. So on the other hand, he's taking even less money than he's making this year, which I think is like 5.2 or 5.3 or something along those lines. So now he's making even less money, and you can put a big price tag and give that big check to Trevor Zegras on that 7-year contract he's about to get.
And let's see here. We've got Priz saying, don't overlook this aspect beyond Rick. This is by far the most talented group of wingers Dvorak has ever gotten to play with.
That's true.
And Greg saying, let's fucking go. He also says, love that we finally have a team that can match the energy of the fans. Yeah. And boy, did they do that tonight. That was fun to watch, and we're damn good.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will never take away from this team this year is how good that they have been. Despite the fun rivalry that we have together between, me being a Ducks fan and you guys being Flyers fans, it's so much more than that with this team, because they have the high energy. They're playing with resilience. Vladar's betting on himself as well, so he's playing out of his mind. Once they figure out the backup situation and they can get that power play really rolling, then this Flyers team is really going to find their way. And regardless of even if they do that this year, I still think this team is playing well enough 5-on-5 to be a playoff team. They're figuring out ways to win these games even when they fall behind. And that to me is, that says a lot about this team. They're not an okay team. They're not an average team. They are a good team. And once they figure out those couple holes in their team right now, they're going to go from good to great. And then that's just it's a matter of when.
So yeah, and right now, when it comes to the way that the Flyers have been playing, on top of just not backing down, they absolutely pull forth the effort and put it out there every single night to make sure that they leave it out there in the rink, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the team just leave it out there, so that way when you walk away from this, they put everything they had into it. Does that mean they're going to get a win every night? No, but they bust their ass, at least. That. And Tommy's saying, let's go. And so
fucking go.
Yeah.
And so you boys so hyped. It's so much more fun for me.
This is good. I like it. This is awesome. It's nice to see that the Flyers can get that win. And Tom saying this team is so much fun to watch. Mm-hmm. It is. That's the one thing that I think we've all picked up on. This is a team that is feeling revitalized and is actually worth sitting down and watching. I'm not saying that you don't want to watch a team when they're building something, but when you're seeing the dividends starting to pay off and you're seeing the hard work and the dedication finally starting to bear some fruit, no matter what, you're starting to see it. If not always on the scoreboard, you're seeing it in terms of the effort. And that's the thing that sticks, I think, very much with everybody, is that you see it. Mm-hmm. You see it, you feel it, the energy is there. I mean, even live, the energy is there,
And now you're getting the results, too. You're talking this team is now back into the top 6 in terms of point percentage in the league. impressive, staying up in terms of 4 points back from the cream of the crop and the top of the Eastern Conference. So let's go, boys. This is great to see. We've seen the effort. If you've watched the games through this rebuild and you stuck with it, I'm glad you're still here with us. If you're just new, you're welcome too. I've changed the leap. I used to say you weren't welcome. Now you're welcome again. Everybody's welcome on the Flyer train now. But what we're seeing here is that they're putting out the effort and getting the results and the finish, and that's just going to keep on improving. To what point you made before, Brian, about what the step that Mitch Kopp will take in terms of being this team's proven goal scoring leader, and the young wingers of Bump and Barkey coming up, and now you have Dvorak in tow here, who had a lot of awesome comments earlier today in regard to his shiny new contract.
Yeah, let's bring that up actually while we are talking about it. Boop, and let's perfect.
Congrats on the new deal, and also what made Philadelphia a place you wanted to stay long term?
Yeah, well, I just love my time being here. First off, and it's a great group of guys. We have a lot of fun, and it's been a good fit for me, and yeah, just like where the team's headed. We've been playing some good hockey this year, and I think we're just headed in a good direction here, and that's really important to me.
How much was maybe with Tocchet being here? I know you came in and you said you kind of came because Rick was here, but obviously there's a strong comfort level. How much with him being here did that kind of sway you wanting to stay long term?
Yeah, that helps for sure. That was definitely a reason why I signed here in the past summer, and I was comfortable with playing with him from before. So that helps, and yeah, I think it's gone well so far this year. He's given me a good opportunity, and I've tried to make the most of it. So yeah, he was a part of it, that's for sure.
How would you describe, I guess, the process throughout the negotiation process, and what was most important to you? Was that 5-year term? Maybe, obviously the money's the money, but was a 5-year term particularly important to you too?
Yeah, it was important. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, we weren't. It was pretty smooth process, I would say overall. Came together somewhat quickly, I would say, and yeah, I think term was one of the main things I was looking for. So we were really happy to work something out, and I'm just very excited and happy it got done.
You're able to play on a line now with Zegras and TK. It's maybe a little bit different than a role than you've had in the past. When you look at that and you see that you're getting the kind of production that you're getting, you look and say, I'm turning 30 soon, but yet there's still a little bit more that I have in my game that I can be that kind of player going forward, maybe versus what I've been in the past.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that I had more in my game offensively, and that's kind of why I took the 1-year deal this summer. I kind of bet on myself, and I thought I had a good opportunity here, and playing with the line mates that I've played with this year. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and they're very easy players to play with, and I got to thank them too. They've been great for me, and have helped me out a ton.
You're surprised at how well and how quickly you fit in here. I mean, obviously you sign a 1-year deal. You don't know how that's going to play out. And then, it's 5 days after you're able to sign and you're immediately re-upping. I guess, are you surprised at how well this has gone?
I don't know if I'd say surprised, but I mean, you always want to believe and trust that things are going to work out, and that's kind of why I made the decision to come here. I thought it was a good fit for me, and so I thought the possibility was there, and yeah, I kind of asked for more of how it's gone so far. Like I said, playing with the guys I played with, the opportunity that I've had, and I know I just had to try to seize that opportunity, and and work hard, and good things will happen.
What was the reaction from your teammates this morning when you walked in the room?
yeah, they're having a good time. Yeah, it's a great group of guys. Got a lot of texts, last night from them, and yeah, like I said, it's a fun group to be a part of. But um, it's a tight group, and we're just really excited for the future here.
All right. So a lot of good stuff said there by Dvorak. I definitely think that after hearing those words, I think the motivation very much of him re-signing here, he loves playing with the guys he plays with. That's clearly the main thing that made him want to stay. Yeah, I mean, he could have been having the season he's having now, but it could have been where, okay, he's carrying the load himself and he might not have considered staying. But when it comes to playing with the guys he plays with, I think that's what really sent it to him wanting to be here in Philly.
No, for sure. And I think he made a lot of good points. But the one thing I'm going to say, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching or paying attention to the World Junior Championships over the holiday break. There was a comment made by Zane Paraka from the Calgary Flames saying that these players in the NHL are like robots. There's no personality to these guys. And I'm not saying this, I'm not making a crack at Christian Dvorak, but I mean, I kind of am. If you listen to the way he talks, he's so monotone, and this is kind of how there's like no excitement in his voice. He brought up a great point. Yeah, they're like robots. You know what I mean? No, but I love what Christian has done in the short term with his organization, and he definitely earned his contract for sure. And I do like that. He put the bet on himself, and it's paying off. And like Priz said, the quality of wingers that's surrounding him right now is paying his benefit.
I will say this. I do not care if he doesn't have a personality. I don't give a shit. It's like, you know what, Dvorak, you could be human drywall for all I care. As long as you're productive for this team, I don't give a fuck. Zegras can have all the personality. You don't have
he
to.
fits in. That's the important part. Regardless of how he talks or not, he fits
part.
in with the organization. So that's the important thing.
Right. Because we don't need a personality on the ice. As long as you're able to put the puck in the back of the net, that's all the personality I need from you.
What you got to pay attention is when he breaks the monotone, because that's what he really feels more. And he did it twice, if you noticed, during that. Once was when he talked about betting on himself because he felt the payoff, literally, right? And two was when he goes, I wouldn't say surprised. Like the reporter phrased this question like, are you surprised that you're basically doing what you're doing, even though you're playing with two excellent wingers with Trevor Zegras and Travis Konecny, just to paraphrase. And he's like, I wouldn't be surprised. When you're a professional hockey player, you believe that you're the best center iceman out there. You don't think, you're not playing the game being like, yeah, I'm rated 75 on NHLPA. You know what I mean? You're like, like that's just the edge that you need to play on, right? So it's like, now he's getting the results because he said Philly was the right fit for him, and it was 100% right.
Well, speaking of the devil, and he shall appear, he's currently on my TV.
Well, there you go. So not only that too, but it's like I bet you the reporter's just trying to say like, oh, are you surprised that your game is all of a sudden great again because you're playing with two talented players, and then basically in his head he's like, fuck you, dude. Like, I was going to be good no matter who I was playing with. So shut the fuck up.
I love what he's done. I want him to flip that hat around. I want to see what that looks like from the front. But I love what he's done. He's not just on the ice, but off the ice. He's been such a good leader to have. And, I mean, Priz, I'm with you 100%. This is a guy who, he's playing with, he's playing top 6 minutes. He's playing with two of the best guys in the organization who are top 20 players in the NHL. It's a situation where he's comfortable. He knows Tockett's system. It's a coach that he's comfortable with. Why would you want to leave that?
Right. So On that, Dvorak's extension, I think, unless we have anything to add, I think we could consider that topic covered. Um, all I gotta say is that you know what? I'm happy that he's happy, and I want him to continue to be productive for this team. Sure, I have my misgivings about the length of his contract, but you know what? I would love to be proven wrong. I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again, and I would like to be wrong this time. So hopefully he can wind up making me a big old fat liar right here. That's
Yeah.
all I want to hope for on that side of it.
And in a worst case, it's still, like I said, in 2 years, cap raises even higher. So to what we were talking about earlier, I believe Robbie brought up the point. You can trade him to another rebuilding team in 2 to 3 years because that contract is going to be insanely movable. It's going to be insanely cheap by that point. So, it's a good situation that the Flyers have him in. So if he continues to be productive, he stays. If he starts to struggle a little bit or they feel like he's not fitting the system anymore, it's a contract that you can move on. Which I need to double check real quick, but I thought I read somewhere that there is a no movement clause
No
attached.
movement clause.
Yeah, I believe was it short term or not short term? I'm so tired. Let me see.
Oh, like in other words, like it's like maybe like with 10 teams,
Modified.
like not like
Mhm.
modified. Yeah,
Modified.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a full movement or not, but there is a no movement clause on it, and that's fine though because you give that to the player so that way, not this isn't the um this isn't like say like the NBA or even Major League Baseball where you'll actually get players like saying like, oh no, like 9 times out of 10 the hockey player goes, yeah, sure, I'll go.
Yeah.
Right, but it's just good to have a voice to have a say that you know what I mean, that we're and that vote of confidence that the team's going to take care of you, right? That when it comes time to move you, we're going to put you in a good situation to where maybe if you're trying to get one more attempt at a cup, you're going to get it. If it's not with us first,
Yeah.
Right.
So-
go figure. Oh, hopefully there's that.
So he's got a full no movement clause for the first 2 years. And then the third year is a 20 team. So he needs to provide a 15 or 13, 12 team trade list in the third year. And then I think it's a 5 team in the fourth year. And then he has no movement clause at all in his fifth year. So he's stuck with us for 2 years for sure.
All right then. John Ross saying hi, A2D Radio. Today is my special birthday. I'm 37. Well, happy birthday to you, John.
Happy birthday, John.
So with that, now that we have that taken care of, did we want to talk about, before we sign this off, to the Brink rumors?
The only reason I brought that up was I actually was just told this today that Danny Briere has completely shut down any rumors of him going to Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that would be a trade that makes sense. And I think if the rumor was true and it was Ryan Hartman coming back in return, I think that would be a foolish trade. And I mean, would have made absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense at all.
I think it makes sense for Minnesota to try and get Brink, but for the Flyers, they have to hold him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, for Ryan Hartman, it's like Hartman was already in Philly for like a cup of coffee, so it's like, well, why do we need him again? I mean, if anything, I don't know if his play would be better here. I think he was okay over in Minnesota.
He's 1 year.
Still, it just doesn't seem like it would make much sense for the Flyers anyway. So I'm not so sure about that one. That's like saying, hey, let's go get Pitlick back and let's trade away Brink to do it. It's like, why the fuck would you do that? Just saying. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway.
No, for sure.
So with that, I think, unless anyone has anything else to say, I think it's time to speak now, forever hold our peace on this one, right, gents?
Well, let me point out the obvious. We got to get a health report on Bobby Brink before anything continues in terms of, and
True.
and please don't. That's all I'm saying. I love Bobby Brink.
Same. He's grown on me a lot in the last year or two. But I'm with you. Hopefully, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. Just period is I hope Jamie and Bobby don't miss a lot of time. Obviously, I hope they're concussion free, but they won't know for sure for a little bit. Sometimes they take a day or two to really start showing the symptoms of it, but hopefully they're back on the ice sooner than later.
Hopefully. So with that, I think that'll do it for this edition of Flyers Talk A2D. Let me just double check here and see what we've got for next week. See if we have a game to react to. And no, we do not. The Flyers will be playing on Monday and Wednesday next week. So they'll be taking on the Lightning on Monday. And they'll be taking on the Sabres on Wednesday. So we will be in between that. Oh, it's a home and home between the Lightning and the Flyers, actually, because they'll be playing them Saturday. So not at the exact same normal version of home and home. But, all the same, it'll be 2 times against the Lightning. So hopefully trying to play big because they got shut out the last time they faced off with the Bolts. So hopefully they can play up on these two.
Well, hopefully we get some of these boys back in the lineup for those 2 important games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I agree, Don. It has been a good hockey season so far.
Yeah. It started off okay. It's a little rough right now.
But with that, we thank everybody for joining us once again for Flyers Talk A2D. We were brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains, go hit the doc up at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Until next week, we hope everyone stays safe and stay healthy out there. And we will have all of the review for you guys between the Lightning and Flyers and their 2-game matchup that they have coming up over that weekend and going into the week. So, everyone out there, we love you all. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next week. Peace and love.